Hello and welcome to a new video on my channel. Today we're doing the Digimon partners of the characters from the TV show The Powerpuff Girls. This was a request on my last video where I did the Digimon partners of characters from Ed, Edd and Eddy, and I also have been requested to do the characters from the Loud House, but I haven't watched that TV show. I do plan to watch it just to see if the characters are more than what they appear at first glance, but until then I hope you will enjoy this video. Starting up first with Blossom, the leader of the Powerpuff Girls. She and the rest of the girls have pretty much the same power set except for one ability. Blossom has the ability to breathe ice, and so with her ice breath I decided to go with the Digimon partner of Lunamon to Luckysmon to Crescemon and finally to Hexablaumon. The reason I chose Hexablaumon instead of Dianamon was because Hexablaumon comes from the region of Wichenli, a region of Digimon that study the mystic arts, and Blossom is the most studious and most book smart of the group. That is why I think Hexablaumon is a good fit. Next up is Bubbles, who is the cutest of the bunch since she's into cute animals. She's the most kind-hearted, so I decided to go with a new evolution line, that is Shumon to Shushumon to Chaperomon to Senjumon. Bubbles can have moments where she's angry, which is why I chose this line because it has Chaperomon, a Digimon that kills wolf Digimon for fun just to make new shoes. But overall, I think this line fits this character, fits her cute aesthetic, and fits overall her personality. Next up we have Buttercup, the meanest and baddest of the group. Her partner would be Gaomon because of how much she loves fighting, which would digivolve to Black Gaogamon, which was being used in a manga as a dark evolution, referencing how aggressive she is to the point where it's a problem. Then it would digivolve to Black Mac Gaogamon, continuing the problem, but finally it would digivolve into Marsmon, an Olympus 12 Digimon that would show that Buttercup has finally gotten the hang of her strength. I personally haven't been the biggest fan of the reboot, but I figured this character is worth adding just for the evolution line that I decided to give it to her. That character is Bliss, the fourth Powerpuff Girl which was introduced in the reboot. Bliss's gimmick is that she couldn't control her power at first and she was dangerous to everyone around her. So I figured what better Digimon to give her than Lucemon, a Digimon that wanted to do good but was extremely powerful and even got corrupted. It would then digivolve into Lucemon Chaos Mod as a reference to how she was corrupted by a character named Him, and after all this time being unable to control its power, it would finally digivolve to Lucemon X Antibody, a mega level Digimon that finally has control over both light and darkness, showing that Bliss has become better at her power controlling. Next up is the father of the group, Professor Utonium. Since he's a scientist and a fan of cars, I figured the evolution line for him would be Junkmon to Commandamon to Nanomon to Machinedramon. This evolution line was chosen because of the things I mentioned already about Professor Utonium, but Machinedramon is there at the end despite being such an aggressive Digimon because Professor Utonium has had times where his inventions caused more problems than they solved problems. As example, that one episode where he was scared of the girls getting hurt, so he built a mech for them, which the mech destroyed the whole city by accident. Next up is the mayor of the city known as Townsville, also known as, well, the mayor. His evolution line would be Pawn Chessmon White to Knight Chessmon to Bishop Chessmon to King Chessmon. And don't worry, the Chessmon line doesn't stop here because the mayor's assistant Miss Bellum get Pawn Chessmon Black, Knight Chessmon Black, Rook Chessmon, and Queen Chessmon. Mayor and Miss Bellum are an unforgettable duo in the show, and so them having the King Chessmon and Queen Chessmon works well because let's face it, the mayor is kind of clumsy and Miss Bellum has to pick up the slack, and that can be the case for the Digimon as well, King Chessmon and Queen Chessmon. Now we get into the villains. Let's start with the most iconic one, Mojo Jojo. His partner Digimon would be Monmon to Targetmon to Vademon to Ebemon. Mojo Jojo gets his partner because he's a monkey, of course, but Vademon and Ebemon are chosen because they are technologically advanced Digimon and it fits with Mojo Jojo's repertoire. He's a super genius who builds all sorts of devices and mechs to fight the Powerpuff Girls and to conquer the world. Next up we have the Rowdy Rough Boys, which are the male equivalent of the Powerpuff Girls. Let's start with Brick, the leader of the group. You will get Falcomon to Saberdramon to Voltramon to Ornismon. The reason I chose this bird line because he is definitely taking the lead and Voltramon is Digimon that's cunning. So it makes sense that he would take the initiative and makes sense that he would be the leader since he pushes everybody around just to make sure he's on the top. Next up is Boomer, who is probably the dumbest of the group. So for that I'm gonna give him as a partner Neamon, which will evolve to Dogmon. Then finally to Blackwood Garurumon. Blackwood Garurumon is there because Digimon, in my mind, would become smarter than his partner, and that's why he would digivolve to Blackwood Garurumon. And finally, he would digivolve to Black Metal Garurumon just to cause more havoc. Then Butch, the most aggressive, would get Goblimon to Ogremon to Xingtiangmon to Titanmon. This whole line is based around the fact that Butch is just a maniac who wants to fight. Next up, we have Fuzzy Lumpkins. Fuzzy Lumpkins is basically a hillbilly who wants to be left alone, so I figured the best Digimon partner for him is Bearmon to Grismon to Watermon Zaimon to Kalismon. Bearmon and Grismon aren't necessarily evil Digimon, but Watermon Zaimon definitely is. After all, it has the word Waru in its name, which is evil in Japanese. And Kalismon is there because it's a bear with a gun. Yeah, not gonna lie, there's not much thinking over here. Next we have the Gangrene Gang. We'll start with Big Billy, the muscle of the group. You'll get Patamon to Nanimon to Big Mamemon to Banchomomemon. If this is a villain, why is he getting a cute Digimon that turns into a Digimon that believes in justice? Well, Big Billy does have a conscience to some extent. In one episode, he was saved by the girls from a train, and he realized that, oh, I could have died. They saved my life. So he wanted to show his, so he wanted to thank them by being their servant for a while, which is weird. I guess they thought of it more as a butler, but overall things didn't work. He went back to the Gangrene Gang, but even then, when they had the chance to defeat the Powerpuff Girls, he remembered the train incident and saved their lives. Next up, Little Arturo. Because Little Arturo in one episode showed that he cares about his hair and his looks, I decided to go with the evolution line of Ekakimon to Raremon to Splashmon to Splashmon Darkness Mode. It's mostly here for the Slashmon evolution because Splashmon is a Digimon that believes in its own good looks, and the Gangrene Gang is not the most appealing gang, but they definitely think high of themselves. Next up is Grubber, most messed up of the group, let's say. His partner evolution line would be Chumon to Numemon to Black Ink Numemon to Platinum Numemon. And then there's Snake. Because of his nickname, I'm of course going with the Betamon line, which is Betamon, Seadramon, Mega Seadramon, and Metal Seadramon. And then we have Ace, the leader of the group. His Digimon partner would be Chuchumon, which is kind of like Chumon, but it's more evil and cunning, which will evolve into Diamond and slash Tuarmon. These two Digimons are basically form changes, so I'm putting them together at the champion level. Then it digivolves into Etemon and finally to Metal Etemon. These two last evolutions are a reference to the fact that Ace, for some reason and somehow, became a member of the music band Gorillaz when they lost one of their original members. I don't know how that works, don't ask me. Next up is Sedusa, a character who relies on good looks and is also relying on its hair tendrils. So for his Sedusa, I will go with Alromon, which can reference the tendrils on his hair, then to Witchmon, to Bustemon, and finally to Lotusmon, referencing how she uses her looks to corrupt people around her. Next up is Princess P. Morbox. Because she's a spoiled brat from a rich family, I'm of course going to give her the Zenimon Digimon as a partner, which would then digivolve into Ganemon. Afterwards, it will digivolve into Betsumon, showing that she doesn't know how to take care of Digimon partners, and she would end up with a failed evolution. But then in the end, it would become Barbamon, a Digimon characterized by its greed, as it is the sin of greed in the 7 Great Demon Lords. And finally, him, the most evil character in the show. For that, I'm going to give him to Kaimon, to Boogimon, to Felismon, to Piedmon. Him is definitely not the character who likes to corrupt people and to take advantage. He also tried to get rid of the Powerpuff Girls in various ways. He also tortured the people of Townsville when he got the chance to conquer the city and made it look like it was all the girls' fault because they wanted to go on a little vacation. Well, this was the video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know which characters would you like to see get Digimon partners in the future. Like I said before, it could be anything from the Justice League to Hololive members if you want to. Until next time, chill out.